Good evening, people. Thanks for joining me for another housing discussion, and today we're going to discuss San Francisco. The beautiful San Francisco, the painted ladies, the Golden Gate Bridge, the whole 9 yards. What is happening to San Francisco? And I have a lot of people that watch my channel, and they send me a lot of links from down there for me to cover them on my show. Don't forget to join me every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. San Francisco time, for trends in the housing market, where I have people call in from all over the world, from Australia, from the UK, from New Zealand, the United States, Canada, Eastern Canada, all over the place. People calling from everywhere to discuss how all these English-speaking countries, free market countries, are being totally bought out. Now, San Francisco, let's start with this. It's by the Mansion Global. It's a local newspaper there in San Francisco. I think this one is given out for free. It's one of the local ones that they give out for free. And it says, San Francisco's surging market shows no sign of slowing down, bubble bursting. Experts weigh a strong job market against low housing inventory, rising interest rates, and Trump's steel tariffs. You always got to throw Donald Trump in there no matter what. And there's this downtown San Francisco there. San Francisco medium home prices have surged for the last 6 years, rising 106% between 2011 and 2017. That's pushed up prices across the board, including in luxury markets. And while the city also enjoys booming jobs environment, it's against the backdrop of a volatile stock market that a question naturally begs to be answered. Is the Golden City's housing market at risk of blowing up? Not quite, industry experts say. We actually refer to this as an elevated risk of bubble activity. See how you like to use these fancy words, eh? But nowhere near close to what a true bubble behavior would look like, said Javier Vivas, director of economic research for Realtor.com. So he's a real estate agent. He's going to, of course, buy, sell. This is okay. It's okay. It's good for you. A dramatic change in local market conditions, however, could exacerbate that elevated risk level, he cautioned. Soaring for 6 years. So, I don't know if you guys understand, watching down in San Francisco, what's been happening in Vancouver, Canada. 6 years ago, I started making these videos. 6 years ago, March, I started making these videos because the housing prices were just out of control there. And it was a lot of foreign speculators, foreign markets, illegal money, laundered money coming into the country. And we were backing our economy, and it still do to this day, to housing. And unsecured loans and student loans and stuff, right? So, and same thing around that time, the whole West Coast, the gateway to the West. The gateway to the West basically started seeing this pattern right across. Right from Vancouver, Canada, right down to San Diego. Anyways, median sale prices in the city have soared since 2012 and topped out at the end of 2017, with the single-family home selling for an average of $1.5 million in the fourth quarter of 2017. Condominiums and lofts ended the year with the average of $1.19 million. They've since ticked down, according to data provided by Patrick, chief market analysis of the Paragon Real Estate Group. At the top of the market, luxury home sales, single-family houses, condos selling for $2 million or more appeared to peak in 2016. The average of 1,230 square foot countrywide and $1,592 per square foot in the city's priciest district, historic North Beach waterfront, according to Paragon. $1,592 per square foot. That's huge. Doing the math in my head, it's like luxury condo prices in particular stagnated between Q4 of 2016 and Q4 of 2017, posting 0% growth year over year compared to 10% growth in the overall market, according to realtor data provided by Mr. Vivas. One condition to watch, Mr. Vivas said, is San Francisco's inventory problem. New housing construction was essentially flat between 2016 and 2017. He said, while the number of new households created annual has grown according to new realtor data. A more likely red flag for San Francisco market in the near future, according to Mr. Vivas, would be an increase in home flipping, which is apparently making a comeback in some regions of the United States, including booming metros like Denver, Seattle, Atlanta. The practice of buying, renovating, and reselling a home to make a quick profit popular with investors is considered to have been a major contributor to the housing bubble and subsequent market crash 10 years ago. President Donald Trump favors loosening regulations on consumer lending that were enacted as a result of the recession to move that could excite the house flipping industry. So there's a long story here, guys. So let's go to here. So this is a listing right here. This house right here, it's showing up on my thing. Recommend listing San Francisco, $1.168 million. My house is twice the size of that house. This is a 3-bedroom. My house is a 11 bedroom if you want to argue it out, and 7 bath. So yeah, that's not gonna happen. Warning signals to keep an eye on. Oh, let me close this thing. Here we go. Warning signals to keep an eye on. Mr. Carlisi noted that the housing crash in San Francisco have historically been triggered not by local crises but national or international ones, such as stock market crash of 2008, the sell-off after 9/11, or the global panic led by Black Monday and the crash of 1987. We have a lot of issues going on in the Bay Area, and I think are warning signals about our local economy, but none of them that I see triggering some sudden dramatic crash, Mr. Carcelis said. So it says here, I don't see any bubble coming, in part because we have enough people and we have enough salaries to pay for what people are getting, she said. And there are always way more buyers than there are sellers. So that's one perspective, and it's obviously in favor of investors and buyers. Let's move on to this one. Chill out. San Francisco only got elevated risk of bubble activity. And this was about 1.5 hours ago posted. It's nowhere near close to true bubble behavior would look like, according to realtor JMV. So it's the same article. Same article. Look at that. Same article, different... wow. Well, it talks about building materials here. If the cost of these materials keep going up, then construction costs are going to keep going up, said broker Nina Jensen of Otis Madison Group. So what is happening here, people? Same article. Now, this is an interesting one here. Bit of historical. Let me just get a sip of water here. San Francisco housing market is so dire that people are spending over $1 million on the earthquake shacks built after the 1906 fires. There's the shacks right here. That little thing over there, that's an earthquake shack. After the major fires in San Francisco, a lot of the water pump or the water fire hydrants got damaged during the earthquake, so there was no water coming out of the hydrants to put out the fires, and it was pretty bad. A lot of people lost their lives. With the great fire. Sorry guys, it's getting late. More prospective home buyers know that cozy in real estate code means tiny. Oh, little cozy home we bought. Yeah, it's a room. In San Francisco real estate, cozy is about all most residents can afford. A person who wants to buy a property in the city needs a household income of $303,000 in order to afford the 20% down payment on a $1.5 million home. The median sale price in San Francisco last quarter. But before these articles, I think what they need to do is they need to put some sort of a gauge above every article. Like a universal gauge of the city, like we'll say the city, population of the city, renters to owners, and then vacant properties. Because in San Francisco, a lot of people are telling me on their street, like of the 10 houses, 5 of them are vacant. They're owned by foreign investors and they're just empty. So you have to factor in what's vacant, because it's almost like they don't exist, because it's not fair, because a non-investor would have bought that and rented it out to a local American. You know what I'm saying? So foreign investors don't like to rent out, right? Because they don't want to deal with hassles, right? That's what they say. So let's continue here. It should come as little surprise that cottages known as earthquake shacks are one of the most desirable real estate assets in the city after the 1906 earthquake and fires decimated some 500 city blocks and left the population homeless. The city, 500 city blocks, that's huge. The city responded by building more than 5,000 small wooden cottages for temporary housing. They came to shelter over 16,000 people. The surviving shacks are scattered across the city and fetch prices above $1 million. Here's the story of earthquakes shacks come to be. So it's the morning of April 18, 1906. Bay Area residents awoken to an earthquake. It lasted only a minute, but a series of devastating fires followed and decimated 500 city blocks. Holy crows. See that image there? Half of San Francisco population, or about 250,000 people, was left homeless. Most escaped with only clothes on their back. They were hungry, filthy, and distressed. In the aftermath, the U.S. Army set up 21 relief camps to shelter 20,000 refugees. The tents worked well enough until winter. They needed more substantial solution. Along with the city agencies, the Union Carpenters and Army got working to build 5,300 small wooden cottages. 16,000 homeless people were moved into the new relief camps. Wow. These are still standing today. Look at that. The originally tiny house ranged from between 140 to 252 square feet, used some fancy build materials, California redwood, and the walls and fur and flooring. Wow. San Francisco Mayor Eugene Schmitz said that conditions were so clean and the locations were so desirable, he worried these people will never want to leave their new homes. Residents pay $2 a month for rent, which was put toward the $50 price of the cottage. Once the cottage was paid off, the owners were required to move their cottages off-site. So there they are right there. See that? By horse-drawn carriage, the earthquake shacks migrated across the city. Today, some units are unrecognizable after being remodeled, but the homes are as charming as ever. Look at them. Oh my God. It's like 200 square foot home. This thing has a garage in it too at the bottom. What? They command a high price. A 756 square foot shack in Bernal Heights, often ranked the hottest neighborhood in San Francisco, landed the market for $900,000 in 2016. This shack in the Outer Mission District was in desperate need of TLC when it sold 17 above asking price for $408,000 in 2015. It received 4 all cash offers in just 10 days. Cash offers, foreign investors. The new owners remodeled it, flipping the home for $622,000 2 years later. The most expensive known earthquake shack is in Cold Valley. The home is a cozy 640 square foot. Oh wow. Living space. It sold nearly for $100,000 over asking for the price of $1.4 million in 2016. The Western Neighborhoods Project, local nonprofit dedicated to historical preservation in San Francisco's Western neighborhood, keeps running list of all surviving shacks. Oh, it's so cute. Look how tiny it is. It's just, you don't even see it. If you could walk by that and blink. So, just lots to read here. Sorry, that was it. The earthquake shacks are a 6-figure reminder that housing prices have gone mad. Very true. Another article here for people living down in San Francisco. San Francisco is losing more residents than any other city in the U.S., creating a shortage of U-Hauls that puts the rental at $2,000 just to move to Las Vegas. Some few days back, more residents leaving San Francisco than any other city, according from data from real estate site Redfin. A growing number of those considering to move are Silicon Valley investors, and the New York Times report says. The migration has become so intense that it's creating a shortage of U-Haul vans and inflating prices so that it costs thousands to go from San Jose to Las Vegas, but only $100 to go the opposite direction. That's amazing. So you could go from Las Vegas to San Francisco for $100 to move, but if you go the other way, it's going to cost you $2,000. Startup founders and venture capitalists have little reason to stay and invest in expensive real estate, especially since today's technology makes working remotely so seamless. That's what I'm doing from home, people. Work mainly from home now. The sky-high rent and cost of living that we've come to expect from the Bay Area might have finally taken the toll on a large proportion of residents. A huge wave of people are considering more affordable cities outside the world's tech capital, and they're taking their startups and investors with them. So what's going to happen in San Francisco? I believe it's going to be a ghost town. It's going to be everyone's going to own the property's going to be all foreign owned. It's going to be ridiculously expensive for anyone to get in or to start out, for any small company. And you're going to start seeing companies 5-10 years down the road say, yeah, we were going to go to San Francisco, but it was too expensive. Now we started up this megatropolis company here in Nevada, and we're reaping the benefits and creating jobs. And then San Francisco's missing out on all these opportunities that could be headed their way if housing wasn't so expensive and it was more affordable. San Francisco lost more residents than any other city in the U.S. in the quarter of 2017. In the last quarter, so Q4 of 2017, San Francisco lost more of their residents. According to data from real estate site Redfin, which sampled 1 million users, the data factored in the number of residents that cities gained, meaning San Francisco lost 15,489 residents, about 24% more than the next highest loser on the list, New York City. This is expected to continue in 2018, considering that as of February, 49% of Bay Area residents were looking to move out of San Francisco, according to this survey by public relations firm. If that data isn't enough evidence of heavy migration, consider the shortage of U-Haul moving vans in the Bay Area, which has inflated costs as much it to cost $2,000 to rent the truck from San Jose to Las Vegas, but it costs $100 the other way around, according to local news reporter. In fact, it costs twice as much to rent a truck from San Jose to almost any other destination city than rents the same vehicle in the opposite direction. The migration from San Francisco isn't a new phenomenon, since rent has been increasing at an incredible rate for years. But the recent tax reform has made it even more expensive for residents, pushing entrepreneurs and their ideas toward faster growing metros. Others, like Peter, who can't afford the price to live there, have attributed their move to a more left-leaning and less tolerant culture atmosphere, that he leaves little room for freedom of opinion. That's true. Many investors, like this reference of Rose's Times article, are finding that other cities are thriving with opportunity. Startup founders and venture capitalists have little reason to stay and invest in expensive real estate, especially since applications like Slack, the intercompany messaging platform, and video conferencing tools make working remotely more seamless. You can read more about the Silicon Valley investors are fleeing about the life outside of the Bay Area over at the Times. So that's what's happening, people. People are leaving California in droves. A lot of people are going to Texas. A lot of people are going to Nevada, New Mexico. Las Cruces is seeing an increase in Las Cruces and Albuquerque. They're all seeing increases of real estate prices starting to go up because the amount of people moving in. I see San Francisco like Vancouver, no density, like very little density, a lot of people, but a lot of people during work hours that commute into the city and going on lunch break and stuff. You see a lot of people out and about with friends and stuff on lunch breaks and stuff, and having eating at a restaurant and stuff. But then I think after a certain time, the city shuts down. It just shuts right down because everybody goes home outside the city, way outside. Some people have to commute 1 to 2 hours just to go in one way. So that's a little tit for tat on what's happening in the city of San Francisco, California. Let me know what you guys think. If you live down there, let me know what's going on. I'd like to know. Don't forget to tune into Trends in the Housing Market every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. San Francisco time. We talk about all these big cities and this huge buyout of our futures by foreign investors. Why is this happening? Why are our governments letting this happen? Why is free market society gone bad on us or have betrayed us? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.